Hi everyone, and welcome to this week's market commentary. I hope you're all doing tremendously well. Had a great weekend and had a great trading week last week. We were having a look at some possible swing opportunities last week in the trading room, as well as covered in some coaching sessions I've done. And they're lining up, but they're not quite there. So we never had any live trades. So that gives me an opportunity to cover them this week, and we'll see if they set up. They might not. It's just about a little bit of patience, and if they come around, we'll take them, and if they don't, we'll move on. The other thing that we've definitely seen, a lot of the room members in the mornings are definitely having a lot of success because we're getting these lovely little day trades, and people are able to capitalise on that. So that's been really great. So if you've not been in the room for a little bit, please come in. And you can check out some of the stuff that Ali's doing with guys in the morning sessions because there's definitely some nice opportunities happening during that time of the day. Now, before I crack on to the couple of trades that I'm looking at from a possible swing point of view, I just want to highlight the FTSE. Now, for those that have been watching the market commentary for quite some time now, and even if you've just recently started watching it, you'll know that I don't think I really mentioned the FTSE that much. And one of the main reasons for that is because ultimately, compared with the American markets and even the European markets, the FTSE's been in this really wide range for the best part of it's over almost 2 years. It's a long time. So on that basis, the reason I want to cover this is it's actually at an interesting level, which may present some opportunity, and it may be worthwhile keeping an eye on. Now, the first thing we would notice is we made these all-time highs, but there's a little catch to it. This is why it gets interesting. If we take it to the monthly time frame, what you will notice is when we made the all-time high, we hit the previous highs of 1999. So the reason it now gets interesting is the biggest pain in the backside with the FTSE is it's been so close to this level, but it hasn't quite hit there all of that time. So when I take it back to the daily now, you can see that's where we've hit. Now, because we've hit that level, this is when I can really start to get interested. And I'll get interested from two perspectives, which is we could start to look for possible short opportunities on the principle that we're now reversing off of this highly significant resistance level. Alternatively, if we fail to break down or if we do a little flush out and then come back up, that's when we could start looking for possible long opportunities. So for me now, the FTSE's back on the table. I'm going to keep an eye on it and just see if anything presents itself. But that's certainly what I would be looking for. The only thing as a note of caution that we just need to be aware of is there is quite a bit of traffic because we've been in this consolidatory period for the last couple of years, which means there's lots of little levels. So it might be that it's less swing trading and a little bit more short-term trades, sort of. I would call it a day swing principle where you maybe hold them for 36 hours or something of that nature. Okay, so if we move on, I'm going to have a little look as well. I want to take a look at the Dow and the Nasdaq and compare the two of them. So the Dow made this high. One of the things that I always express is making a high isn't enough. So in other words, if we are very literal about our trading, and something that I teach at the price analysis workshop is the ability to look at price movement. And this is a really simple example where what we've got is price has made a new high. So if I'm being literal about this, then I can say this, the market's trending up. But it's not necessarily just about it doing a high. What's the quality of the high? How strong is the high? Or how weak is the high? That often gives us clues if the market's really going to trend, or alternatively, if it's going to maybe struggle to trend. And right enough, because it's not done a significant high, we've then seen this move back down. So at the moment with the Dow, I'm not overly convinced about the short side, which I'll explain why in just a moment. But as we start to break down, you would have to say it's going to look more bearish. The next, I would say the next significant level that I can see at this moment would be back down to about 17,400. So we definitely have got some space to the downside. There's maybe a little bit more minor traffic that we might just see a little bounce at in reaction. That's the problem with maybe trading into this area, is just volatility. So I would just be aware of that. But there's also a reason why I'm not overly bearish just yet on this market, other than the fact that it's been going up for such a long time. It's actually, if I take a look at the Nasdaq, what you'll notice, and this is where we can look at again price. This time with the Nasdaq, the move up has been a lot better. Nice momentum, a strong high, And now what it looks like is it looks like the Nasdaq's potentially pulling back. So what that might suggest is the reason that the Dow's going down in part is because the Nasdaq's coming down. So if the Nasdaq was to come down to this area, that's when we might see it push back up. And that would then mean that the Dow, to do an equivalent style of move, can end up a bit no man's land and start to reverse, that's what's keeping me out of the Dow at the moment from the short point of view. So the Nasdaq still confirming a good uptrend, and also the fact that the Dow, if it does break down, it's breaking down into these minor areas, but the sort of areas that we can see a bit of reaction to. And again, I'm just going to take, there's the S&P as well. S&P and the Dow are very, very similar in the way that they've moved. And again, you can just see we've actually settled into this area of support as well on the S&P, but there is some levels. So not great at the moment, but it's a good example of looking at price action. Now, going to take you on to something we're actually currently looking at, which is CAD Yen. This one is now on our watch list and one that we're going to be watching. This one I really like the look of. At this stage, it's not ready, but it's certainly getting very, very close. We've got this downtrend here, and you can see that's where we hit. So we hit this last Thursday. We've also now come past the 50 moving average, and in essence we're just sitting on it. So one of the things that I'm going to be looking for is, can we get back to the highs there, and if we can we break it? Because the one thing we blatantly have in this market is clean air. Back up to 9,900. We've also got, there's our levels there. So we're at a really good resistance. We're coming into this, and we're also making higher lows at the same time. So if we break up, that would give us a higher high at the same time. Obviously, if it comes down much further, then I'm going to be a little stricter on what I want to see, but it's certainly something we're going to keep an eye on, and we'll see what happens. So that one's certainly worth keeping an eye on. And the last one to finish this week, I'm going to go for American dollar versus Canadian dollar. Now this one, I've been looking at this one for ages, and it's one of these, sometimes the market can take a while to set up, and sometimes we get it really quick, and you guys will know what it's like. You're sitting waiting about, and then the minute you turn your back, it all happens. Or the minute you load your screen up, it's right there, and again it moves so quickly. And this is always where we've got to be like a hunter. We need to be ready to act, but at the same token, demand quality. So in other words, take the best shots. For me, this one has been lining up for a long time. We've certainly been talking about it for a while, but we can see we've got this lovely area of support. We have been creating a descension, which means that the pressure is more likely that it pops down. So if price can come down and do a little sort of, maybe a minor consolidation here, then I'm going to look for a short opportunity. And as you can see, it keeps getting close and then pulling away. Obviously, if it comes back to the upside, I'm not going to look for the longs in the principle that I would want to see these highs tested first, then I could look long. So it does look good in both directions, but the current primary bias is definitely to the short side. Now, although this has been going on for the best part of a month, it could very quickly come around, and this just highlights the point we want to stay on top and in tune with the markets, and just be ready to act at the right time. Okay, guys, so that's us for this week's market commentary. There's definitely plenty going on. We've got a couple of swing possibilities, and more will come on the table. Of that, there is no doubt. Day trading wise, we're seeing some great results, especially in the morning sessions with Ali and the guys that are really working hard, and they're really seeing the results from putting the time and energy into their trading. So have a fabulous trading week, and I'll catch you in next week's commentary. All the best for now. Bye.